one particular segment. You have to constantly excite new customers to come into your brand. The price in the market, our dealers selling our motorcycles at MSRP.
Dealers across the country find themselves with a disappearing trickle of customers when it comes to certain Harley-Davidson motorcycles that simply refuse to leave the showroom floor. These models arrive with fanfare, quietly taking up space as buyers pass them by, leaving sales teams to wonder whether the gap between expectation and reality has grown too wide. What follows is a journey through 14 Harley-Davidson machines that dealers can't seem to sell, each one reflecting a unique lesson about market demands, brand identity, and the ever-shifting tide of motorcycling culture. Before we start, smash the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. First among these is the Street 500, a bike that promised an accessible entry point to the Harley universe but instead stumbled on the weight of expectations. Designed to lure new riders with a friendly price tag and manageable power, the Street 500 could have been the gateway to lifelong brand loyalty. Yet the reality of its 494cc engine left eager novices questioning whether they might fare better on a lighter, more nimble competitor from Yamaha or Honda. Dealers guffaw at the irony. A model intended to simplify Harley ownership instead highlighted how essential that signature V-twin roar and heft truly are to the brand's allure. Walk-in customers, often enamored by the prospect of a starter Harley, leave with a test ride grin quickly replaced by a sense that something fundamental is missing, a visceral feedback that no spreadsheet can quantify. Then there's the Livewire, Harley's bold electric venture which straddles the line between innovation and alienation. On paper, an emission-free cruiser with instantaneous torque sounds like the perfect modern Harley, especially for urban commuters chasing eco-credentials. In practice, dealers report that enthusiasts flinch at the MSRP, which rivals many traditional big twin models, and at the idea of charging stops replacing fuel pump rituals. Early adopters sing its praises, but for everyone who feels they've strapped into the future, 10 more who lament the loss of that rumbling soundtrack that defines Harley heritage. Maintenance staff, meanwhile, learn new jargon, kilowatt hours, charging curves, while older hands reminisce about spark plugs. The Livewire sits as a reminder that even the House of Harley can find itself unsettled by a vision that pushes too far ahead of its loyal base. Alongside the electric curiosity lies the CVO Road Glide, a top-tier touring bike that, in theory, embodies the pinnacle of Harley craftsmanship. Custom vehicle operations, CVO models are supposed to represent the creme de la creme, boasting premium paint, bespoke engines, and cutting-edge infotainment. Yet the CVO Road Glide's stratospheric price tag has thwarted mass appeal. Private collectors debate whether the extra horsepower justifies five-figure markups, and cost-conscious riders recoil at the numbers. Dealers compare floor traffic. A standard Road Glide will move if there's a good finance deal, but the CVO variant often returns to its pad with fresh dust after open house weekends. It's a stark demonstration that prestige alone cannot short-circuit riders' pragmatic considerations. Trading off exclusivity for everyday usability remains an uphill climb. The Electra Glide Ultra Classic takes its place on the roster as another heavy hitter saddled with poor sales momentum. Here lies a paradox. A motorcycle built for long-distance comfort and equipped with every touring amenity known to Harley, yet languishing in showrooms. Part of its plight is generational. Younger riders lean toward minimalist bobbers and scramblers, craving offbeat styling over plush seats and voluminous hard bags. Meanwhile, some gray-haired veterans are shifting to lighter, nimble ADV machines for cross-continent trips on mixed surfaces. The Ultra Classic, once king of the open road, now feels like a rolling land yacht out of sync with lean, mean touring trends. Service teams whisper about training courses on adventure bikes, as the Ultra's monopoly on luxury touring is challenged by offerings from BMW and KTM that emphasize agility alongside comfort. Unusual though it may seem, the Roadster, Sportster S, also finds itself struggling to spark sustained demand. A radical departure from classic Sportster lines, the S model offers a liquid-cooled Revolution Max engine and aggressive design. It wears fresh ambitions on its sleeve, but dealers overhear customers musing over price premiums compared to the venerable Iron 883. Enthusiasts argue the S's seating position feels cramped, its weight distribution awkward. Qualities at odds with the nimble, unpretentious ethos the Sportster name once evoked. Instead of rallying purists or beckoning newcomers, the Roadster sits in limbo, admired in theory but rarely chosen in reality. Conversations at the service desk reveal that some owners are already hunting aftermarket parts to soften the ride or lower the chassis. The lesson here sounds a familiar note. Shaking up a classic recipe may alienate the dedicated cook. Beyond the concrete examples of unsold machines lie threads that interweave through each stagnant model. The Street 500's mild temperament, the Livewire's futuristic sheen, the CVO's lofty stratosphere, the Ultra Classic's bulk, and the Roadster's identity crisis all hint at an overarching tension. Harley-Davidson must innovate to survive, yet its customers cling to a romanticized vision of their bike as an extension of self. For dealers, this means navigating a fine line, investing heavily in floor stock only to face rejection if the public perceives compromise on brand DNA or value proposition. Finance managers recount eye-watering incentives they've dangled to shift inventory, from 0% APR to extended warranties, only to see buyers drift to Japanese cruisers that undercut Harley on sticker price and dealer network convenience. Market research reveals another factor shaping demand: demographic shifts. The core Harley buyer ages upward, seeking comfort and reliability, while younger generations gravitate towards smaller displacement, lower-cost bikes, or dual sport machines that promise weekend adventure beyond asphalt. Dealers lament the absence of a unifying bike that can appeal to both camps. Models like the Softail Standard or the 48 enjoy brisk turnover, but the ones that push boundaries in displacement, technology, or pricing struggle to find a foothold. Showroom managers track walk-in yield rates, noting that even well-planned demo rides on exotic models fail to translate into deposits. It's a cold reminder that creating buzz is one thing. Aligning that buzz to concrete sales is quite another. Regional tastes compound the puzzle. In Sunbelt states, touring bikes generally flourish, with open highways inviting long-haul cruisers. Yet despite California's hybrid culture and New York's micro-commute chaos, Livewires and electric glides alike falter in equal measure. One group balks at the idea of relying on charging stations, another shies from the girth of a full-dress tourer on crowded streets. Rural dealerships conversely recall past glories when touring models dominated winter clearance sales. Now, though they lean on promotions to move the ultra classic, the profit margins compress and staff morale dips. Even color choices loom large. Flamboyant custom liveries on CVO machines may look stunning in a brochure but seem garish in sunlight when buyers envision sanding dents and covering scrapes en route to the next group ride. Behind the scenes, manufacturing shifts and production constraints have exacerbated the sales imbalance. As Harley directed resources toward new electrics and special editions, allocations for core models tightened, inflating wait times for entry-level bikes and inadvertently steering first-time buyers toward used markets. When the Street 750 disappears from dealer floors, an urban minimalist option fades into scarcity, prompting riders to pivot to rival brands with readily available lines. With parts pipelines widened for high-end CVO components and battery cells for Livewires, dealers find themselves oversupplied with those very models, lacking the middle ground offerings that might entice undecided shoppers. Inventory reports flash alerts, thousands of dollars locked in bikes that risk obsolescence before they even arrive at their next safe harbor. Staff training and passion also play roles in this unfolding saga. Sales teams conditioned for classic cruisers and retro tourers sometimes struggle to sell an electric or a high-performance sport model they themselves don't connect with. Prospective buyers pick up on hesitations during demo rides, an awkward explanation of charging station locations, or an uncertain nod regarding top-end torque figures sows doubt. Some dealers invest in specialized training sessions, pulling in product specialists to cheerlead the benefits of underperforming models. But these sessions only scratch the surface when rider psychology craves authenticity over sales pitches. Peer influence shines through. At rallies and local meets, owners of niche models exchange stories. But when a fellow rider shakes their head at the Livewire's charging quirks or the CVO Road Glide's wallet-bleeding price, those anecdotes carry more weight than any window sticker bullet points. Marketing strategies have attempted to revive interest in these languishing models. Ad campaigns for the Livewire paint it as a symbol of urban rebellion, while glossy spreads for the Street 500 tap into coffee shop culture and custom builds. Yet the impact falls short when contrasted with viral content of custom fat bobs tearing up desert roads or influencer-led cross-country voyages on classic softails. In the digital age, social proof and aspirational content drive showroom footfall more than traditional brochures. Dealers note that when local influencers post weekend rides on the 48 or the Iron 1200, their lot lights up. Yet when the same voices feature underdogs like the Roadster, likes multiply, but showroom appointments remain static. The dichotomy underscores the potency of perception. What looks cool online doesn't always translate into showroom conversions. Price sensitivity further deepens the quandary. The CVO models occupy a luxury niche where buyers expect couture-level customization, but at the same time, Harley's brand cachet is being challenged by boutique builders and overseas imports, offering bespoke packages at competitive rates. Riders in search of exclusivity can commission a one-off build from a small workshop for a fraction of a CVO's MSRP, complete with handcrafted leather saddlebags and unique paintwork. Comparisons online erode the perceived value of factory CVO bundles. Similarly, the Livewire's cost puts it in the territory of performance EVs from established automotive brands. To a potential buyer, an electric motorcycle needs to deliver not just torque, but a prestige badge that stands up to a Tesla or Rivian in the driveway. Dealers catch customers scribbling numbers in notebooks, balancing monthly payments against a rumored just around the corner price drop. Dealer franchise agreements and floor plan financing create another layer of pressure. Because Harley-Davidson mandates minimum stock levels for key models, franchisees sometimes have no choice but to accept shipments of underperforming bikes. Those units sit in the dealership showroom for weeks or months, drawing square footage and capital that could have gone to faster-selling variants. The finance department inches up commission targets to offset carrying costs, but salespeople, demoralized by downward negotiations for demo units, sometimes push harder on small accessories rather than big-ticket machines. It's a paradox where the very structure intended to ensure model diversity ends up crowding out successful lines. All these dynamics converge in the lived experience of the modern Harley-Davidson dealer. Each unsold Street 500 and stranded Livewire tells a story of ambition run up against tradition, of design innovation colliding with consumer expectations. On the showroom floor, customers flick idly through customization catalogs, imagining personalized exhausts for a bike they'll never actually take home. Meanwhile, sales managers pore over quarterly reports, prepping desperation deals to clear the backlog before the next shipment arrives. Yet for all the headaches, there remains a current of optimism. Harley's recent pivot toward modular platforms suggests a more agile response to market feedback, and the emergence of mid-range powertrains may bridge the gap between overwhelming prototypes and reliable workhorses. A path to redemption lies in recalibrating the balance between heritage and experimentation. The Street Series might find new life with a larger motor or more distinctive styling, combining entry-level accessibility with unmistakable Harley character. The Livewire could evolve into a more affordable variant or a hybrid platform that eases customers into electrification without abandoning fuel altogether. Price repositioning for the CVO lineup, perhaps through limited runs or build-your-own options, could recapture the sense of exclusivity without sticker shock. Touring models like the Electra Glide could be lightened through materials innovation, appealing to seasoned road travelers who crave adventure beyond the straight-line highway. The Pan America 1250 was heralded as Harley's foray into the adventure touring segment, a bold pivot from its boulevard roots. Yet dealers whisper that it has become a cautionary tale of ill-timed ambition. Outfitted with a rugged frame, spoked wheels, and electronic suspension, it promised to conquer gravel roads and high mountain passes with the same swagger it displayed on the pavement. In reality, however, buyers found themselves caught between two worlds. Too cumbersome and heavy to match the nimbleness of KTM or BMW adventure bikes, yet too aggressive and off-road focused for traditional Harley riders who prize the low-slung silhouette. Despite extensive ride demonstrations, many potential owners balk at the need for specialized gear, riding pants, boots, and protective guards, turning to simpler single-purpose machines instead. Service technicians, meanwhile, recount troubleshooting complex ride-by-wire electronics and calibration menus that feel more at home in an aerospace shop than a motorcycle dealership. Even the Pan America's signature Daymaker headlamp cluster, lauded in press photos for its futuristic cut, raises eyebrows in showrooms when customers realize the aftermarket for genuine Harley luggage and crash bars remains limited. Ultimately, the Pan America 1250 sits as a testament to how straying too far from core competencies, without a clear, differentiated edge, can leave even the most storied brand stranded on its own road less traveled. Another puzzler is the Tri-Glide Ultra, Harley's three-wheeled homage to ultimate touring comfort, which has left many finger-wagging observers scratching their heads over persistently stagnant inventory. At a glance, the Tri-Glide seems tailor-made for riders who crave stability, cargo capacity, and sweeping touring ranges, complete with a car-like trunk and plush backrest. Yet the market for trikes remains a niche within a niche. Many long-haul enthusiasts recoil at the idea of trading the lean-in cornering confidence of a two-wheeler for the parade float bulk of a trike. Dealers admit that while older demographics appreciate the ease of mounting and the perceived safety of three wheels, they often downgrade to a second-hand trike conversion or a more affordable competitor offering similar specs. Finance teams note that the Tri-Glide's expensive floor plan fees and high insurance costs dampen enthusiasm, especially when riders can retrofit trike kits to their own softails at a lower price point. In quiet moments, store managers recall that the most fervent buyers aren't those seeking pure practicality, but collectors chasing the novelty, which isn't a sustainable sales base. As a result, the Tri-Glide Ultra endures, gathering dust beside its two-wheeled cousins, emblematic of how even premium comfort features struggle to overcome deeply entrenched notions of what makes a Harley real. Meanwhile, the Nightster has stumbled into a similar trap of mismatched expectations and product identity. Reviving the storied Nightster name, Harley introduced this liquid-cooled, mid-sized cruiser to lure both new and veteran riders into a package blending modern performance with nostalgic cues. Advertisements highlighted its minimalist tank, slit-style headlamp, and sculpted seat, projecting a cafe racer vibe stripped of unnecessary adornment. Yet in the showroom, customers lament that the actual ergonomics feel more cramped than classic Sportster models, and the power delivery, while improved, fails to outshine the thrill of competing middleweights from Triumph and Ducati. Dealers report that conversion rates plummet after test rides, as anecdotal feedback centers on a lack of charisma in the powertrain's feel. Riders claim they don't taste enough of the twin-cylinder rumble that marks a genuine Harley experience. Meanwhile, aftermarket customization options lag behind those for Ironhead-inspired Sportsters, leaving early buyers unable to fully realize the bespoke aesthetic they envisioned. The Nightster thus remains in limbo, a bold nod to the past that paradoxically has failed to resonate either with purists or with those seeking a fresh standalone character. On the other end of the spectrum sits the Lowrider S, a muscle cruiser forged in collaboration with a heritage Harley-Davidson dealer in California, yet oddly failing to ignite widespread fervor. With its blacked-out finishes, inverted forks, and fat drag bar stance, the Lowrider S brings a raw, street fighter energy to the softail lineup that, in theory, should appeal to a younger, performance-oriented cohort. Dealers, however, observe that while walk-in traffic often admires its aggressive styling, conversion to sales stalls once customers clock the higher price tag, and the knowledge that those drag-inspired ergonomics compromise ride comfort on anything but freshly paved boulevards. Riders accustomed to classic cruiser posture balk at the forward-leaning position, and performance seekers note that the Milwaukee 8 114 engine, though potent, lags behind the torque-laden grunt of similarly priced power cruisers from Indian or Buell. The Lowrider S becomes a victim of an identity split. Too edgy for traditionalists yearning for wide bars and sweeping arcs, yet insufficiently track-tuned for those harboring sport bike ambitions. As a result, showroom floors often echo with the Lowrider S's guttural exhaust blasts during cold starts, ambiance that belies its refusal to translate curb appeal into real-world sales. The CVO Street Glide stands as a luxury touring icon that paradoxically refuses to glide out of the showroom. Decked in bespoke paint schemes, a 121 cubic inch V-twin, and high-end AVN infotainment, the CVO Street Glide represents the zenith of factory customization, a head-turning statement of wealth and taste. In dealer lore, these machines should fly off the floor, yet many franchise owners find themselves forced to consign or heavily discount them after seasonal sales blitzes come and go. The crux of the problem lies in a split demographic. Affluent riders who can afford six-figure European Grand Tourers or even personal jets balk at spending mid-five figures on a motorcycle, while core Harley enthusiasts perceive CVO Street Glides as ostentatious departures from the brand's working-class roots. As trade-ins trickle in at a sluggish pace, service bays grow acquainted with unique CVO components that have long lead times, further straining customer patience. Marketing narratives that paint the CVO Street Glide as the ultimate expression of individuality feel hollow when most buyers find the base Street Glide with a few aftermarket upgrades offers a near-identical riding experience for a fraction of the cost. Consequently, the CVO Street Glide endures as a stationary showcase piece, a glossy testament to what happens when exclusivity and extravagance collide with rider pragmatism. The Street Rod debuted amid a flurry of hipster-infused teasers and promises of urban agility, but dealers soon discovered that its promise of a lighter, nimbler entry into the Harley ecosystem was more mirage than reality. Sporting upside-down forks, mid-mounted controls, and a sculpted fuel tank lifted straight from the XG500, the Street Rod sought to marry cafe racer cool with the storied V-twin heartbeat. Yet prospective owners who swaggered into showrooms on the strength of lifestyle photography were deflated when they swung a leg over its 750cc engine. In comparison to its Japanese rivals, whose parallel twins deliver peppy mid-range bursts and sub-450-pound wet weights, the Street Rod felt cumbersome, its torque spread smoothed out by emissions regulations rather than sharpened for urban darting. Worse still, the seating geometry, pitched toward performance riding, proved too aggressive for the casual cruiser crowd that still comprises much of Harley's clientele. Within a month, dealers found themselves negotiating down from MSRP to clear inventory, dangling accessory credits and maintenance packages in hopes of coaxing riders toward the Street Rod's distinctive silhouette. Meanwhile, social media buzz proved ephemeral. #StreetRodLife hashtags drew likes, but appointment calendars remained empty. In hushed corners of the service bay, technicians lament that they rarely see a Street Rod return for anything beyond routine oil changes. Proof, perhaps, that few ever truly embrace it as their personal mount. Much like its two-wheeled cousin, the brand's Sport Glide has also struggled to stake its claim on showroom floors. Introduced as a Sportster-based Sportster crossover, the Sport Glide wears quick detach saddlebags and a minimalist fork-mounted fairing meant to appeal to riders seeking weekend escapes without a full dashboard cluster or cavernous trunks. On paper, it was the ideal bridge between svelte bobbers and full-dress cruisers. In practice, however, the Sport Glide occupies a perplexing middle ground that satisfies no one completely. Longtime Harley diehards, accustomed to the breadth of a Road King's touring capabilities, scoff at the Sport Glide's modest storage and limited wind protection, while urban riders who prize maneuverability over mass balk at its 678-pound curb weight. During demonstrations, customers often find themselves mentally calculating the extra expense of aftermarket windshields and heated grips, features they assume should have been standard at the Sport Glide's price point. Dealers report that test ride conversions hover in the single digits, with many prospects instead ordering Street Bob 114S or fat tire softails that feel more authentic to the Harley image. Even marketing efforts that paint the Sport Glide as a do-it-all solution ring hollow when riders read online forums lamenting the flex of its bag mounts and the less-than-seamless transition between its Sportster roots and Softail chassis. Then there's the FXDR 114, a bike Harley heralded as its own answer to muscle cruisers like India's FTR or Yamaha's VMAX. Armed with the high-output Milwaukee 8 114, a stretched rear swing arm, and an aggressive drag bar stance, the FXDR 114 should have been the answer to every throttle-happy rebel's prayers. Yet dealers learned that raw power alone can't override ergonomic compromises and styling that borders on self-parody. The FXDR's forward-leaning posture proves fatiguing even over moderate distances, and its hidden side-mount license plate, while daring in concept, often obscures rear suspension visibility during showroom walkarounds. Riders who do take one out for a spin return with mixed reviews. The torque is undeniable, but the lack of genuine suspension articulation on rough roads means every bump jars the rider's spine in a way that rivals run-flat tires in luxury cars. Moreover, the FXDR's subframe, borrowed from its Softail siblings, strains under its own athletic aspirations, leading to reports of slight creaks and noises that undermine confidence in what should feel like a precision instrument. As inventory piles up, managers resort to flash sale events and pairing the FXDR with discounted performance upgrades, only to see buyers flock instead to billet wheels and slip-ons for more conventional softails. Finally, the Road King Special stands as a study in paradoxical neglect. With its 114 CI engine, jet black finishes, bullet-style headlamp with a halo LED position, and detachable windscreen, the Road King Special resembles the classic touring icon reborn for modern tastes. Yet despite its potent mix of nostalgia and modern tech, it languishes in many dealer yards. One reason lies in its aesthetic. The pared-back, blacked-out palette subdues the chrome fetish that still drives many Harley purchases, leading veteran riders to skip it in favor of the gleaming fenders and tank badges of the standard Road King. Simultaneously, the base Electra Glide Ultra Limited, with its full fairing and color-matched bags, appears more complete to riders uninterested in customizing windshields or auxiliary lighting. Prospects arriving for a Road King Special test ride often exit disappointed that the lack of factory floorboards and gloss paint doesn't feel premium enough for the price, yet deem the bike too heavy and indistinct for rideouts that demand more specialized touring gear. Sales staff admit they struggle to articulate the Special's value proposition beyond a dry recitation of blacked-out parts and engine specs. And without an emotional hook, customers drift to the comfort of more familiar silhouettes. As a result, the Road King Special remains a high-performance sleeping giant that dealers hope will awaken under the next wave of custom builds or limited edition color releases. Taken together, these models, each ambitious in concept but stymied in execution, underscore the tightrope Harley-Davidson walks between honoring its storied past and boldly charting new territory. Dealers, as the brand's frontline ambassadors, negotiate this balance daily, fielding rider feedback that spans every corner of the marketplace. From cafe racer aspirations to muscle cruiser boasts and everything in between, these unsold machines reveal that even the ironclad mystique of Harley cannot entirely dictate consumer desires. Instead, buyers demand authenticity in ride feel, clarity in purpose, and a seamless integration of features and form. For dealers, the path forward lies not in discounting passion projects into oblivion, but in forging stronger alliances between product planners and those who guide customers through the thrill of owning a Harley. Only by ensuring that every new model resonates as profoundly on the showroom floor as it does in glossy brochures will the House of Harley-Davidson revitalize these silent floor fillers into roaring successes once more. Across 14 distinct models, from the diminutive Street 500 through to the most opulent CVO Street Glide, one theme emerges with crystal clarity. There is no one-size-fits-all solution to the ever-shifting desires of motorcycle buyers. What began as an exercise in variety and innovation has, for many dealers, turned into a lesson in market alignment and the limits of brand elasticity. Each of these 14 machines embodies a bold hypothesis about what riders might want, whether it's electric propulsion, adventure touring prowess, bespoke luxury, or a radical reinterpretation of cruiser heritage, only to discover, time and again, that actual buyers lean toward clarity of purpose over novelty for novelty's sake. Consider the Street Series, where both the 500 and the Rod attempted to open Harley ownership to new demographics. The Street 500's shy output and tamed character left novices craving more visceral feedback, while the Street Rod's cafe racer styling and midpoint ergonomics glossed over lingering heft and a torque curve blunted by emissions compliance. Both stood as testament to the fact that Harley's DNA isn't easily distilled into a lightweight package, especially when the market offers alternatives that deliver comparable ease of use with less brand dissonance. At the opposite end of the spectrum lie the CVO powerhouses, the Road Glide, Street Glide, and Road King Special variants. Here, exclusivity and premium features collide with riders' reluctance to pay factory premiums that stray too far into luxury car territory. Buyers willing to spend north of six figures find themselves weighing these bikes against boutique builds or high-end automobiles, while traditionalists reject the perceived ostentation, leaving dealers to contend with striking paint schemes and upgraded AVN systems that fail to translate into consistent showroom turnover. Harley's leap into electric with the Livewire further underscores the chasm between innovation and expectation. Despite its sterling reviews for instantaneous torque and urban agility, the Livewire's prohibitive price and the inconvenience of charging infrastructure have kept it in limbo, praised by early adopters yet overlooked by the broader riding community who still associate Harley with roaring V-twins and impromptu stops at the local gas station. The touring models tell a parallel story of mismatched positioning. The Electra Glide Ultra Classic and Tri-Glide Ultra each double down on comfort and cargo capacity, but flounder when younger riders crave stripped-back styling and seasoned road trippers gravitate toward lighter, more nimble adventure machines. Even the Pan America 1250, Harley's much-publicized entry into adventure touring, found itself adrift between KTM's off-road pedigree and Harley's boulevard-bound heritage. Muscle cruisers and performance-minded offerings have endured similar fates. The FXDR 114 and Lowrider S, with their drag bar stances and torque-rich engines, looked for a slice of the power cruiser market only to bump up against ergonomics that fatigue and styling that polarizes. Meanwhile, the Nightster and Sport Glide occupy conceptual middle ground so nebulous that neither purists nor newcomers feel fully catered to, resulting in lengthy showroom stays punctuated by occasional accessory upgrades rather than outright sales. Taken together, these 14 unsold models sketch a multifaceted portrait of a storied brand in transition. Dealers, caught between corporate mandates and grassroots rider feedback, are learning to treat each new platform as a hypothesis to be validated, rather than a guaranteed sales winner. Incentives, demo fleets, influencer partnerships, and trim-level adjustments have all been tried, yet the underlying imperative remains. Marry innovation with authenticity, ensure that every spec sheet promise echoes in the saddle, and respect the emotional bond riders forged with the Harley badge. Only by reconciling bold design with clear, uncompromised purpose can these floor fillers finally find homes on the open road, rather than gathering dust under the showroom lights. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, leave your comments below and tell us, what are your thoughts on 14 Harley-Davidson dealers unable to sell bikes? Why? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.